TV, broadcasting to you live from Juma Game Reserve. My name is Marco, and tonight is behind the scenes night. I believe we had some technical problems earlier with our server going down, so a few of you out there weren't able to actually watch the complete show. So we're just going to be rebroadcasting so everyone can have a good idea of how things have been this week at Wild Earth and what the team's been up to. It's been quite an exciting week, a lot happening, a lot to do. We've had a lot of problems with Jigger. As I'm sure you're all aware of, we haven't been on the road for the last few drives, and believe me, we are missing it as much as you are. It's always nice to get out into the bush. Ultimately, that's why we're here, and to be able to broadcast to you, that's all in our nature. So without further ado, let's head straight into the highlights and get started on that side. Well, it's been an absolutely unbelievable week with the Wild Earth team out here in Juma Game Reserve, and for everyone else involved all over the world. There's been cats all over the place, and it's been spectacular just to see all the activity. The week started off last Thursday with Rixon coming across a very, very familiar character that a lot of us love out over here, Mojo, and he's becoming increasingly comfortable with our vehicles and allowing us to come a whole lot closer. So it was quite exciting out there with Mojo. On Friday morning, Peter and Alex headed out and came across the Mafufunyan male, and he was quite badly scarred on the side of his face. It appears that he had a little bit of a scuffle with the warthog, maybe sticking his head inside the warthog hole and getting quite a bad injury. It was very clear on the side of his face. Later on that afternoon, Alex and myself, we went out, and it was unbelievable that we came across 3 leopard, not 1 but 3 leopard on an impala kill. It appeared to be the Jordan male, Karula, and one of her youngsters. And just seeing those three animals together in one place was absolutely spectacular. Last week we were quite lucky to have Graham and Emily down for a few days, just to help us get settled in with some of the new technical equipment and get things nice and smooth and operating efficiently. Sat down around the fire a few nights and did some brainstorming, and it was just great having them down here and getting all the new things on the go. For me personally, it's been interesting joining the Wild Earth team at this current phase that they're in, where everything seems to be running quite smoothly, but I believe it was never always that easy. So you sat down with Graham and Emily one day and just had a chat about that, and to get an idea of how things really were getting Wild Earth started up.
Yeah, well, we started in September 2006, and we live in Joburg, and obviously Juma is a 6-hour drive, sometimes 7, depending on what time you leave Joburg. And we had to come down every single week. It was a huge setup, very technical. Graham was doing an awful lot of stuff. So we had to go back for weekends because Graham's son comes to us at weekends. So we'd leave on a Tuesday in the morning after we dropped him at school. We'd stay till Saturday and then come back and pick him up. And that happened probably for about 6 months, every single week. It was very tiring.
We had lots of problems along the way with lightning in particular, constantly attacking our equipment, firing our equipment. But we also have difficulty getting fuel in here. We have difficulty with getting tires sorted out, vehicles breaking down. As a lot of you know, that the tank caused us a lot of troubles over the years. But we've slowly worked our way through many of those problems.
Always seems to happen just before we're about to go on holiday. There's been about 3 holidays. One we had to completely cancel, and the other 2 just about a week before we went. Remember Plettenberg Bay?
Oof, yeah.
The lightning struck and all the encoders went down, and we were literally going on holiday the next day. So Graham spent the entire week on tenterhooks waiting for phone calls from everybody, wondering what was going on.
I've developed the art of being able to do everything on the telephone. In fact, the telephone is permanently attached to the side of my head. When I'm not in the bush, the phone's on my ear.
Even sometimes at midnight, we get phone calls from beyond telling Graham about technical problems. I've just had to get used to it.
But it's been so much fun. It has been absolutely the best thing ever to build Wild Earth. I wouldn't have changed a thing. Yeah. At the moment, we've had a particular problem with the baboons up the mast, and they've taken to roosting. After 10 years, this troop of baboons have decided that the mast is their new home, and that has caused us a lot of problems. There was also that elephant down at Buffelshoek.
digging up the cable.
That kept digging up the cable. That was a real problem until we decided that we'd bury a second cable that actually didn't have anything in it above, a fake cable above the other one, and that kept him happy, and then he didn't worry after that.
We've had spiders in the cable, remember, on the top of the tower, laid its egg?
Oh yes, it made a little nest inside one of the antennas, which took us a long time to figure that one out. We've had ants climb inside cameras and make a nest inside a camera. That also took us some while to resolve. But the biggest, without a doubt, is lightning. Lightning is the killer. And we're about 3 months away now. We're in the middle of winter, which for us is the
best time.
It's the best time.
Wonderful time. I think the hardest thing is making people understand what it's actually like living in the bush from a point of view of living, sleeping, eating far from any form of civilization. I think a lot of people who are very good at TV, good at camera, good at producing, whatever, think, oh, this glamorous job, I'm going to go be in the bush far from city life. But they forget that the water runs out, or it's cold, or when they wake up in the morning and there's, the toilet won't flash. Or
food wasn't delivered.
Yeah, or the water's run out. And it's really not for the faint of heart.
And in winter it's freezing cold. In summer it's blisteringly hot. It's a tough place to work. You work 7 days a week. You start work before the sun comes up in the morning. You finish long after the sun has gone down. You got Emily and I on the other end of the telephone, far away, shouting and screaming and demanding that everything gets done now.
There's a very small camp, 5-6 people living on top of each other in a very confined space. So you've got to be able to work as a team, get on with people, cope with pressure, not fall apart and have arguments all the time. So.
As a result, there's been a lot of people that have come and worked through Wild Earth already, and I'm sure quite a few more to come. Some managed to stay and make it and keep going. Others have moved on to find greener pastures elsewhere. I guess it's just the way it is. It's really one of the toughest jobs in the world.
But the most rewarding if you can do it, if you enjoy it. It's beautiful. I mean, if you really enjoy this kind of lifestyle, you can get into it, then you can't beat it. I mean, it's been an incredible journey from start to, well, not that we're anywhere close to finish, but succeeding and dealing with problems along the way and the challenge of getting through things, and there's always new ideas to come up with, the new things that we can put in, and new shows and new. Yeah, it's never becomes stable as one thing. There's always something to work towards, I think.
For me, I mean, this is the 10th year that I've been broadcasting Wildlife Live, and I just don't think I could do anything else. Until you've done it, until you run a 24-hour-a-day live broadcast, you won't appreciate absolutely how it gets in underneath your skin. It drives you. I would not feel alive unless we were live.
On Saturday morning, Rexon and Alex headed out, and they went straight down to Treehouse Dam to be surprised by a new individual that we haven't seen before, a male hippo that had been utilizing the dam. The water was very, very shallow, so he seemed very stressed out. He was giving some excellent displaying behavior to Alex and Rexon, yawning and splashing around a little bit, definitely giving indications that he wasn't too happy. However, the action most certainly didn't end there. It was later on in the afternoon, Rexon and Jan headed out on safari and went towards the east and came across some very peculiar activity where a hyena actually approached a herd of zebra, a dazzle of zebra, and came quite close. They seemed quite interested in each other. The zebra standing there staring at the hyena, and in turn the hyena staring at the zebra. Both of them seemed quite inquisitive, but none actually did anything. No tension, no aggression towards each other, and eventually they both just made their way apart from each other. Later on in the evening, while all the Wild Earth team were sleeping, we had some faithful viewers out on the other side of the world watching our waterhole cam, and very, very impressive sounds coming through from the waterhole cameras, where we had that very, very guttural sound of a leopard marking his territory.